Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's short webinar, Understanding Ages and Transitions. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. So an introduction to life stages, transitions. Life is marked by distinct stages and transitions. Each transition comes with emotional challenges and opportunities for growth. Life stages and transitions can often be happy experiences or at sometimes very difficult to navigate, depending on the different stage that you are in your life and what's been occurring and how that's impacting you, especially emotionally and needing different things, skills. So there are many different ways, many different transitions that can come up within this period. Oftentimes, we think of life stages as moving from childhood through to elderly age, just in this visual here as an example, and kind of what that looks like moving throughout your life. So the role of emotions in the life transition. So emotions help guide how we perceive and react to these transitions that are occurring within our life. Emotional regulation is at times very crucial for managing the way we deal with stress and also in how we proceed to grow in, having dealt with whatever was occurring during that transition or life stage. And then just to kind of look here, John Fisher does a really great job at kind of visually expressing different ways that we can kind of feel moving through different life stages and different transitions. And it oftentimes is like a roller coaster. It's not linear at all. And you can move forward, you can move backward, and you can experience many different situations, from like anxiety to depression, ultimately, hopefully towards the end, entering acceptance and moving forward into that next stage or next transition. And I just have a short video here as well in regards to dealing with changes and transitions. I'm just going to play that here.
Hi, today I want to talk about dealing with changes and transitions. Change can be difficult, especially when it feels like everything is shifting and we don't know what to expect. But it's important to remember that change can also bring new opportunities and experiences. Here are some tips for dealing with change and transitions. Talk about it. It can help to talk to someone you trust about how you're feeling. They can offer support and help you process your thoughts and feelings. Keep things familiar. Try to keep some things in your life familiar and consistent, such as your routine or favorite activities. This can provide a sense of stability during a time of change. Embrace new experiences. Change can bring new experiences and opportunities. Try to approach these experiences with an open mind and a positive attitude. Take care of yourself. Taking care of yourself is important, especially during times of change. Make sure to eat well, get enough sleep, and do things you enjoy. Stay positive. Focus on the positives and the opportunities that change can bring. Remember that things will get better and you will adjust in time. By learning how to cope with change and transitions, you can feel more confident and ready to face new challenges. So don't be afraid of change, and embrace the new opportunities that come with it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more social stories. Until then, take care.
Okay. And I think this short video did a great job in just kind of identifying stability as something that you should try to maintain throughout periods of transition and, moving from one life stage to the next. Continuing to partake in different activities that you enjoy, things that aren't going to be shifting throughout that period of transition, just to kind of, again, give you that stability. as you're navigating some of these different periods in your life. Okay. So some key life stages, as well as transitions that occur. Um, Normally, when we think of life stages, primarily we first tend to think of moving through infancy to early childhood, into adolescence, young adulthood, middle adulthood, later adulthood, and then eventually death and the end of life. And I think this kind of visual right here is a great example of just how circular that cycle of life is. And then as you navigate these key life stages, some of those transitions that often happen within the human life cycle, from making friends in school to moving to graduate, entering the workforce, getting your first job, if you're getting married, having children, if you're moving to the country, and essentially entering kind of those end of life stages where you're looking at hiring or making a will, just some of those things that you're needing to do as you enter different periods of the cycle. Right? And then, so how transitions affect us emotionally? Oftentimes, transitions can trigger wide variety of emotions, including fear, joy, sadness, uncertainty, especially kind of at the initial stages of moving into a new transition or a new life stage. So, oftentimes, I think up here, this visual that you're kind of looking, it's kind of like a mountain. So, on top being, what people are seeing, and then ultimately how it is that you're feeling kind of underneath what is presenting itself outside um, of you and not internally. So a lot of times people don't see all of the additional bumps and mountains that you're trying to climb when it comes to those transitions, or even looking at it, those emotions that you're more so analyzing or keeping inside that don't often share with others as you're navigating these transitions. And then just looking at down here as well, just another visual, how transitions affect you emotionally. So they can mentally affect us emotionally. Um, we can often be resistant to change. We can often find ourselves looking at the past and how things were before that transition took place. You may possibly have some regret, loss, or sense of identity as you're kind of navigating some of these transitions. So it can affect you in a lot of different ways in a lot of areas of your life. So, signs of struggle during transitions that you can often watch out for. You can always ask individuals who are close to you if they've noticed any of these things. But emotional numbness or like a detachment, maybe sometimes isolation, prolonged periods of sadness or anxiety, and trouble finding maybe new meaning or direction, kind of unsure, where do I go next with all of these changes or these transitions that have kind of, put a halt to maybe some things that you were looking at. Maybe you had applied for a certain job that you were really excited about and they got back to you and that job was no longer available. Where do you go next? And how do you navigate that? And these are some common transitions that happen for a lot of individuals. And it's just supporting yourself through these transitions. Okay, just moving along here. So again, supporting adults through emotional transition. So some things that you can do would be active listening and battling emotions. And there's a slide a little bit um, in the next couple slides, I believe, where we'll kind of touch on dating emotions and what that looks like if that's something that you're not aware of or have never done. Normalizing these emotions and offering different tools or coping strategies. So we have another set of visuals here as well. So just some different life events that can lead to transitions. So you'll notice here there's health related changes, career changes. Your children have gone to university and now you're an empty nester. There's no children at home. Lifestyle changes. So going through maybe a transition of adding exercise to your daily routine. Loss and grieving is also a transition. And all of these can be transitions that affect us mentally and emotionally. And having kind of a toolbox so that you're able to navigate these maybe a little bit easier is something that could benefit you. So up here in this visual here, and if you are rewatching this, you can always pause and take a moment just to zoom in. But choosing your coping tool, so different things that you can try, from mindfulness techniques or grounding techniques, sensory techniques, so like toys, journaling, exercising, listening to music, watching a TV show, drawing, art. There's so many different types of tools that you have a wide variety to find something that would possibly work for you in helping you navigate some of these difficult times when it comes to life transitions. And then we have another short video here as well, again on just coping with life transitions. So I'm just going to go ahead and play that.
It's often said that change is the only constant. As you navigate the transitions that happen in all of our lives, you're likely going to be going through some periods of change where maybe one thing is changing and sometimes a lot of things are changing all at once. This can be stressful, scary, upsetting, nerve-wracking. If you're going through this right now, know that it's going to be okay, and the best way to get through it is to acknowledge and accept that it's happening. Once you've done that, you can start to be productive and move in the right direction. The next thing you want to do is manage and navigate your self-talk. It's really easy to get in your own head and talk about to yourself setting this whole situation is. So try to put that at bay and think about what you are going to learn from this situation. Next, you want to prioritize where you need to focus your time and attention. There are likely going to be changes that need to be addressed, and you'll have to put some other things in your life on the back burner. Finally, just start taking baby steps in this new direction. As you are going through a transition or a change, you want to go through it, not stop and be resistant to it. So, as you navigate the transitions that all of us deal with in our lives, know that you're not alone and that you're going to get through it and likely come out even better.
Okay, and again, kind of reiterating that, sticking to those constants that you do have in your life, so that there is a little bit of stability there as you're navigating some of these things. Okay. Just continuing to move along. So in supporting adults, there's also supporting children in their emotional transitions. So learning at times to recognize different emotional cues that children are giving us, validating their feelings of fear, frustration, excitement, and helping to teach them emotional regulation strategies. So again, I have just a small video here on children and life transitions. I'm going to go ahead and play that one.
During a significant transition, kids may show some types of behavioral changes, such as they may be feeling a little bit more clingy or needy, maybe irritable or a little bit more defiant, might be having trouble sleeping at night, or loss of concentration or interest in daily activities. These are all okay to support and be sensitive to during the transition. A good starting point in helping your child work through a significant transition would be to set aside some time where you can sit down and discuss the transition, explaining the process and letting them know what to expect. You can help empower your child during a transition by allowing them to be a part of the decision by asking them what do they think would be helpful in helping them work through the transition, or even be a little playful with it, asking them What would fairy godmother do in this situation? Or what do you think Batman would like to do in this situation? Another way that you can help your child get a better understanding of their emotions is to reflect back the feeling that you think they are trying to convey. You can also be a role model to them by expressing some of your emotions or talking to them about a story that you experienced as a child that was a struggle for you and how you felt about it and maybe possibly what you did to work through it. Some ways that you can be more sensitive to these behavioral changes would be to be mindful of your physical contact throughout the day, increasing hugs and kisses. You could set aside some special time, alone time with your child and let them pick the activity. You could find an object that helps them feel more stable or supportive during the transition. For example, maybe a parent's article of clothing, a photograph of a significant other or a pet. You also could try maybe a relaxation exercise with them where you could take a balloon and blow up the balloon and have them pretend like they have a balloon in their stomach and they can take a deep breath in and a deep breath out to help them learn how to relax. Also, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I hope that you find some of these tools helpful.
Okay. And then a lot of times with children, their life transitions that they experience are, of course, often different than those of adults. So some transitions to keep in mind for children would be, moving into the school for the first time as a student, birth of a new sibling or a new baby cousin, looking at divorce and separation as life transitions for children. So there are quite a variety that are oftentimes, we do have similar ones to that of an adult, but the way we do process it is a little bit different. But there are some specific to the life stage that an individual is going through. So ones that are specific to children, and then again, the ones that are specific to adults. But at the end of the day, ultimately just looking to support and giving you coping tools and coping strategies that you will be able to manage whatever it is that is going on and move forward to eventually get to, like the previous video had stated, kind of that gradual state of acceptance and becoming comfortable in whatever that new reality is for yourself. Okay, and just continuing to move along. Um, so the importance of emotional validation. This is something that some individuals may already know, or this might be a completely new concept. So with this, you're wanting to validate those emotional um, moments that an individual is having and kind of create safety and acknowledgement of what the individual is going through in that moment. So to be able to do that, you're looking at, listening, empathizing, reflecting, supporting. And there's two different types of validation. So there's validation coming from peers or your support network or those around you. And then there is something called self-validation, and that's something that you do for yourself. So just to start off here with another short video on how to validate someone else's feelings. So we're just going to play that one here. There is an app here.
To validate someone's feelings, start by listening to them. Make eye contact and put away any distractions to show them that they have your full attention. As they talk, ask clarifying questions or try rephrasing what they say in your own words to make sure that you really understand what they're trying to say. You can also try asking questions to encourage them to talk and open up more about their feelings. For instance, say something like, "Wow, that must have been really tough. How are you feeling about what happened?" As they're speaking, do your best to empathize with them and acknowledge their emotions. Think about similar experiences you've had and how they made you feel. Saying things like, "I can totally understand why you'd feel hurt after something like that." Or, "Yeah, I remember how scared I was the first time I had to give a speech." It's also okay to let them know if you can't quite understand what they're going through. Say something like, I've never had an experience like that. I can't imagine how hard that must be. Even if you don't agree with their reaction to the situation, don't try to correct their thoughts or feelings. Blame them for what they're going through, or tell them they have no reason to feel that way. Instead, ask them if there's any way you can help, whether it's offering advice, brainstorming solutions, or just listening to them vent.
And then just again, moving over to ways to be able to self validate. So, acknowledging and accepting whatever emotion it is that's coming up for you throughout the transition, reflecting, taking a moment to journal and kind of go back and kind of see, are there some differences that you could make within your choices, or what are your next steps, and kind of taking a moment just to look at that. And then also, celebrating your accomplishments, whether they be small or big, taking the time out of your day to just acknowledge that you have done something. And then also positive self-talk, so positive affirmations. Just an example of that would be, I did a really great job today cleaning up my space, and it's often dirty. I did a great today. I managed to do that. So something as simple as that, and just positive self-talk for yourself that you accomplished that task that maybe has been a little bit more difficult as of recently. Okay, and then continuing just to move along.
To validate,
So how transitions affect everyday life. So, life transitions influence how we interact with others, how we perform in our work, and within our health. And also, stress from transitions can affect our decision making processes. That can be seen in our relationships and our self esteem or self confidence as well. So, it can sometimes be difficult to navigate transitions on our own, and it is important to build a network of support, whether that be, with individuals who are close to you, or maybe looking at outside support groups. And something we'll kind of touch on as well towards the end of this webinar is reaching out for that support, if these things are not available to you, to have maybe a professional step in to assist you navigate difficult life transitions. And I just have another small video here, so I'm just going to go ahead and play that one.
Are you facing a major life change and feeling unsure about how to handle it? Navigating life transitions can be challenging, but there are ways to make the process smoother. Start by acknowledging and accepting your feelings about the change, whether it's excitement, fear, or uncertainty. Create a plan to manage the transition, breaking it down into smaller, manageable steps. Stay flexible and open to new opportunities that may arise. Seek support from friends, family, or professionals to share your thoughts and gain perspective. Practice self-care to maintain your physical and emotional well-being during the transition. Focus on the positive aspects of the change and the potential for growth and new experiences. By approaching life transitions with a proactive and positive mindset, you can navigate them more effectively and emerge stronger on the other side.
Okay.
Are you facing a
So again, recognizing when you are needing support. So if you're feeling very overwhelmed by different emotions that are coming up throughout this transition, that might be a moment when you're needing to reach out for more help. If you're finding that the individuals in your support network are not maybe supporting you in the way that you're needing to be supported, if you're having difficulty managing relationships that maybe weren't so difficult previously, persistent emotional distress or numbness, and an inability to function like you had prior to this transition taking place. So you're noticing that maybe things that you were once able to do are maybe things that you aren't able to do any longer, and you're looking to kind of get back to that. And I think this visual of the road sign and kind of like that old life and transitioning to this new life is kind of very symbolic of that, in that there is always going to exist what once was and what is going to be. And it's something that at times can be very difficult for individuals to navigate on their own. And we're just going to move forward here to the next slide, which brings us to our conclusion. So Again, life stages and transitions are inevitable. They are going to happen. It is part of the human experience. It is normal to also question your identity and challenge some of those views of the world around you as you transition through the different stages. And identifying when you're needing to seek support for rather difficult transitions. So if you're finding that um, maybe for some transitions that you were able to use your coping strategies and those tools, and now something else has come up and it's not working the same, and you might need additional support. So if you are finding yourself in that position and you are needing additional support, I would encourage you, if you are needing it, to go to our website page, and we do have a book now button, and they can connect you with one of our therapists, and they can have a conversation with you and see if there is something that we would be able to do in helping you navigate the different transitions that you might be going through at this point in time. So at the moment, I would invite any questions or discussion if you have any. I know this is being live recorded. So if you are watching this in the future, you can always, if you do have any questions after viewing, submit those, and we can, again, connect you with a therapist who might be able to answer some of those questions that you might have. Or again, if you are needing to connect with a therapist for services as well. Okay. And then just continuing here with our free mental health webinars. So the next is going to be held on February 20th for pregnancy and postpartum adjustment. And then we do still have two within this series, so caregiver realities and moving through grief. And again, if you are looking to join us, you just need to email the info@therelationshipcenter.ca to register and receive the link for the remaining 3 webinars. And then just inviting you, if you are watching this back, this is all of our contact information if you're needing to reach us. So we have our address, we have all of our different numbers that you can reach out to us by. Again, our email address, and then our services are delivered by phone, in person, and a virtual platform. There are multiple options to be able to help you with your needs. And then I just want to thank you for joining me today. And if you are watching this webinar a little bit later down the road, again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to gain a little bit further understanding of those life stages and transitions. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you for joining. Bye.